Welcome back to an epic workout. This one is on the 10th hexagram. And from an UZAZU perspective, we're looking at the relationship between being in the world, and there's a lot of ways the world is arranged, and then we're bringing in some sense of focus for how you're contributing. It's been really relevant because the 10th one here has been challenging for me to create the last few days. And as I've been videoing this morning, I've had to keep rearranging uh, the many things that are going on here so that I can focus on producing this video. So this 10 has been very alive and very relevant, and I hope it's very, very relevant for you. From a Gene Keys perspective, the 10th hexagram has the themes of the shadow of self-obsession, right? So how many times do you have an intent, but the agenda, that secret agenda, is actually your own obsession with yourself. And that's challenging to do, to be humble, to make it actually about the contribution you want to be, and not make it about, on the surface, the contribution, but really you've got some other needs that are trying to be met. And then we've got the gift, which is naturalness. And the 10th hexagram is very much about self-expression and authenticity. And then we've got the city of being, and we'll see if we can unfold that a little bit, make some space for that to show up in your life. So what we'll do, we'll play with the two movements from UZAZU that build the 10th hexagram. We'll do two mobility movements, and I'll give you a challenge that you won't be doing with me on the video. And we'll finish by taking one pass through those three themes using the pure movements of the hexagram. So let's get going. And by the way, my name's Alex, if we haven't met before. Are you ready? We start by noticing where your neutral is, where your starting place is, and from there, move forward, up, and wide. And this is mesh, and this is ideally a sense of being forward in the world and active in the world and being able to handle many things, more than one thing. You're engaged. You got a lot going on. You got life going on. What's going on for you? From there, we're going to take a small step back, narrow the attention, narrow the focus, bring the arms together. We're still forward, but now we're narrow. So we're going from attending to lots of things to a bit more focus and control on a fewer things. From width, from active, from engaged, to more focus. I'm in the big city. I'm in downtown Los Angeles right now, and we've been going on walks. There's a lot to attend to. And then something catches your attention. It's like, oh, let's go walk on those stairs. Let's go read that billboard. Or you know this because you get up in the morning and you have your plan or you don't have your plan. And you, at some point, you probably make breakfast or order breakfast. So there's all these things to coordinate in the day. And then you, at some point, focus on one at a time, probably, maybe two. So that's our basic movement pattern. And that's the way the 10th hexagram is inviting us to embody ourselves from a place of lots of possibility to a place of more focused contribution and action. Let's convert this into some mobility for our upper body and our lower body, and then we'll come back to a deeper pass. We're going in our shoulders from width to narrow, from abduction to adduction. Now, if we had some bands, we could play around with chest flies. That would be one way to do this, with a little bit of a pull. What I'm going to invite you to do is look at just the mobility of your shoulders. We're going to go from width and full external rotation of your shoulders by turning your palms up. That's going to rotate your humerus into external rotation. By itself, that should engage, you should feel some engagement around your rib cage, your serratus anterior, your scapula coming down to your rib cage. From there, keep your shoulders down and depressed, and then rotate so that your palms and then your fingers point somewhat down. They may not get that far down. They're not going to go all the way vertical, but they're probably going to get to about 45 degrees or so. So we're looking at internal rotation from external rotation, from that palm up to the palms and the fingers down. Now what will happen is your body will want to compensate. Don't. Just notice where the limit is. So we're going to limit this to the shoulder, having a sense of focus the entire time. So your shoulders can do all these things, and we're doing one movement pattern, concentration. And as you do it, you may notice it's symmetrical or unsymmetrical, and you don't need to force anything. Just go from external rotation to internal rotation. We'll do 4 more together. External rotation to internal. 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're gonna do one more round, but I'm gonna add a little twist. The twist is to keep pulling your shoulder blade down into your ribs the entire time. So as you come up, there's actually a pull down, and it might even, depending on how hard you pull, I'm not inviting you to pull too hard, but it could give you a bit of a cramp or an engaged feeling around your rib cage. Then as you move into internal rotation, keep pulling down. By itself, that ought to engage your abs a lot. So we go from external rotation to internal rotation. We'll do 4 more. Last one. There's our shoulder mobility. How do your shoulders feel? Next move for the legs. This will be mobility, but also movement and balance. We start with mesh and move towards channel by going wide to narrow. So that's what you're gonna do. Go from wide to narrow. Now, how narrow can you get? Get all the way to a line. At least let that be the aim. So from width to get on a line. You can step in front or step behind. Aim for the line. Try not to go too far and try not to obviously stay wide. Now this will be a play in a game and it'll challenge your balance. Ideally, what we're aiming for here is the ability to go from a dynamic position to a stable one. And it's a challenging stable one. So keep giving it some tries right now. I'm going to give you one extra twist to this to make it more difficult. But first, just get the mechanics of it. Learn how to be successful with this in your body, in your nervous system, going wide. Find your own balance of relaxing and finding your new stance. And then pause. The twist is how you're shifting your attention and your awareness. Start when you're wide by putting your gaze, your attention out, like really look into the room somewhere. Then throw yourself focused. Now to have your balance, you're probably going to need to pick something to look at that's very focused, as well as really have a strong inner focus. Attention's way out, and then you bring it narrow, in visually, and in internally. Attention is out, and then you shift. One more, attention out, and then shift. And breathe. Relax. Now that is something that you can practice more for your balance, for your stability, for athleticism. It's also just a great warm-up for adduction and abduction, and it'll be great for your squats and your lunges. Our final movement is something you're going to actually need to do today at some point later on, and that is to find some stairs. It can be one set of stairs, it can be lots of stairs. If you don't have stairs, I hope you can see, I've got a bit of a curve right here, and that can work too. You can do stairs like that. Find something that is a step or a string of steps. Give yourself 5 minutes and go up and down. If you go too fast, you'll get tired. If you go too slow, you'll be bored. I want you to find the sweet spot of there's a lot here to account for, a lot of stairs to pay attention to, a long goal within 5 minutes, but you're going to keep steady. When I originally went to college, I had this idea, like, okay, I'm just going to put my head down for 4 years and I'll come out the other end. Now that could be too blinding. But what do we also know about a lot of schools? That they're party schools, and people don't come out educated and professional and having apprenticeship and having confidence about the real world. So we want to find the both. Throw ourselves into a situation, bunch of stairs for 5 minutes, and have a certain focus and self-trust that you can cultivate and explore. So that's your homework. Let me know how that goes. Our final dive right now is to use the UZAZU movements of mesh and channel with the gene key themes of self-obsession and naturalness, and see if we can give rise to a bit of flow with the being. So how we do it, I'll walk you through it. Here we go. Start with mesh by being forward, up, and wide, and then come narrow like you did into channel. And remember, the story here generally is co-creativity to specific contribution. Okay, so have that in the back of your mind, and you don't have to think too much about that. Let's now invite in anywhere you've done things for the reason of self-obsession. So what contributions have you committed to that were actually deeply about your own issues, needs, insecurities, or reasons? And let the movement find its own flow here. Those questions I asked probably churned you up a little bit, emotionally or just in your body, noticed a little bit more resistance. Find a sense of gracefulness with this, where you can balance throwing your attention out and then bringing your attention in. And what gifts of naturalness can you play with? What gifts of naturalness do you have? What gifts of naturalness do you want to cultivate? And how can you bring that naturalness into a sense of persistent, consistent, sustainable focus? Let that go. Thank you for participating. I've got a dog who's very persistent about wanting to come back in, and it's time to do that. So it's time to let you go right now and have a great day. Keep playing with the moves, and also know that what we've done will probably activate you for the coming hours and perhaps even days. I suggest you bring this 10th hexagram, the way that we played today, into your exercise and into your workouts, and just let it teach you, let it show you something new. I'll post a few more videos here that you can play with and practice with. And until next time, thanks for being epic. Have a fantastic day and week.